The first Descendant is one of the most well put together betas I think I've ever played for a game. It scratches several itches I've had in the past with other games, but in one package. It's like Nexon decided to have a weird sci-fi space orgy with Destiny, Warframe, and Anthem, and this was the result. Of course, no game is without its faults, yet this beta has had remarkably few. Players who are new to the MMO light style of games may struggle to understand the game mechanics, but veteran players of the games, like the aforementioned Warframe and Destiny, will have an absolute field day with this one. But first, I'd like to mention a few small gripes I've had. Although I may be enjoying the game a great deal, I can genuinely say that I have no idea what is going on in this universe. The story is so far makes at least some sense, but for the most part I'm running from mission to mission with no real incentive to do so other than just like progression and loot. This is most likely something that won't be a big worry upon release, but only time will tell. There are of course lip sync issues from time to time and rare FPS drops, but this is a beta after all. Worse things are expected than the occasional NPC turning into a ventriloquist.
We must completely destroy the Iron Heart.
There you are.
Despite this, however, the NPCs are absolutely stunning. It's like somebody ripped a page straight out of Vogue magazine and said, let's make every character look like that. My personal favorite being the Magister named Ananias? Or is it pronounced Anus? I hope not. That would definitely ruin the character for me. Despite all the characters looking like a model or an absolute Chad, some of them show quite a bit of personality as well, even the, descendants you play as. A good example is how the toxin-based character sounds more cold-hearted, whereas the one literally centered around Bubbles has a bubbly personality.
Do as I say, if you want to live.
What do you get when you mix water and RK? Of course.
Meanwhile, Bunny not only talks too much and annoys me to no end, but also plays like a hamster on ketamine. Now onto the boring stuff that gets a Warframe player like me to cream their pants. Modding weapons and characters is a must for a game like this, with a shit ton of damage types, not as many as some MMO light players are used to, but enough to make the modding seem tedious to someone who's never experienced the satisfaction of making a build in a game that wipes a map in less than a second.
That means that you have an AoE of death around you, so if I just strip these enemies of their armor, I can just be near them. And that number scales up to 2.1 billion. Good luck hitting the actual limitation on that.
Thankfully, the onboarding process is explained at least somewhat well with text tutorials, though this is something that may cause people to skip through it out of boredom. The good news is that even if a new player does this, the system is easy enough to understand after some toying around with it and paying attention to things like the symbols on the top of the mods matching the slot they're placed in. The reason Warframe has been mentioned several times in this video is simply because they share so many similar systems like this. The crafting is almost identical as well, needing a blueprint for each part for a new character or gun. Once these blueprints are found from a game mode known as Void Interceptions, then the trivial part comes into play. Finding out the locations to crafting components is made pretty simple, however acquiring abundance of materials will take time, and it'll be a little grindy. Pro tip, by the way, shoot the damn boxes. I can't tell you how many times I see people completely avoid them. They contain a lot of the materials you need, as well as these white containers you see here that you have to open manually. This quote-unquote grind will most likely be necessary in the full game. However, during the beta, you will receive credits through general progression in the main story. A lot of players will likely just spend those willy-nilly, which is okay. However, they can be used to skip this grind for new Descendants entirely from purchasing them from our gray-skinned waifu. Just click the event tab and use your credits to buy all 4 parts, then go back to the research tab above it and build the character. You'll have to wait 12 hours. This is nothing compared to other games in the genre, so it's worth the wait unless you want to blow more credits to play them sooner. Which I wouldn't blame you for. This is a beta after all. The goal is to try it out and figure out what you like. There's no harm in it. Just know that the amount that you get is limited during the beta. Overall, the game is stunning visually and feels fluid in its gameplay. Modding and transfusing weapons to make them more powerful is simple enough and almost identical to Destiny in that regard. The beta ends on the 27th, I believe, so there's plenty of time to give the crossplay beta a shot. At the very least, it'll keep you entertained for a few days, and at best, you'll end up having a new favorite IP that'll take a couple years off your life. The game's not even out yet, and I give it like a solid 8 out of 10 for now. Alright, cheers guys, enjoy the beta.